What's up, guys? It's Alex, the day trading champ, and today we're gonna recap the three trades we had planned from last week. So, guys, we planned these trades like on Friday or Saturday, like way before the market opened, okay? And we were still right on all three of these plans, okay? And if you haven't seen those plans, we made them all in the previous video, so you can go back and see this was all made ahead of today. Okay, so obviously all three of our trading ideas were short positions, and obviously that works out very well, especially with the market conditions we have. Now, guys, I have no idea what any of these stocks are, but I do know how to read charts, and that's the best thing about being able to read charts is when you know how to read charts, you can trade anything, guys. I could trade corn if I needed to, okay? Although I've never traded it before, but that's the point. Is it doesn't matter what it is. If you know how to read charts, you can trade anything. Okay, so first trade we had, it seems like you guys had a lot of success with it, LII. Now, obviously, there was concern over the contract volume. Okay, but you have to realize that if you're making money on these contracts and they're in the money, someone will buy them. Okay, trust me on that. And the key with the low contracts, the low volume contracts, is bidding low, right? You don't need to meet them in the middle here between the bid and ask. If you go low, you can get filled. Okay, and you will get filled. All right, so that's like the number one strategy with these low volume contracts, and a lot of people get scared of them, but that's actually where some of your most profitable trades can come because a lot of people don't realize, like look, today guys, we had an 18-point move here. That's a lot of money to be made. Okay, now, the downside of these contracts is the fact that they're monthly options. Okay, if these were weekly, that 18-point move would have got you like 800% return. But today, those are only about 200% returns, okay, from top to bottom. So, at pretty much, that sucks. But at the same time, if you can make 200%, I don't think any of us are complaining there. Okay, so let me run you through what I mean by a bounce, okay? So, if you watch the last video, you'll see our trading plan was, very specifically highlighted exactly what we would do. And at the end of the video, we said if this thing beats earnings, which it did, it gaps up, then we want to short the bounce. Okay, so what I mean by the bounce is sometimes the bounce can be just what is moving pre-market, right? It could bounce up pre-market and then short right at the beginning. Okay, or it can gap up pre-market, bounce higher, and then short. Okay, so a bounce can just be any upward movement in price action that is shortable. Okay, or at least that's how we use that term. Okay, so a lot of people think that a bounce means that a price has to go down before it bounces, but if you jump up right now, that's a bounce. Okay, so you could start here, bounce, right? So you don't need to fall before you bounce. And let me show you how I like to target these reversals off the bounces a lot of times. So guys, if you haven't seen, we have an entries and exits video on the channel. I'll probably link that below if you want to go see. It's like a 12-minute video, and I tell you a lot of tips I have for entries and exits. Now guys, you can't be perfect with them, but there are a lot of things you can do to make them better. Okay, so understand you'll never get them right 100% of the time, but let me show you a quick little strategy I have when I know that a stock is going to drop, right? Or when I have the conviction and we've went through the data that a stock is supposed to drop, okay, and this was our trading plan, was for the stock to drop. Okay, so when I see it's bouncing initially, look at the volume. So I like to take it to the 1-minute chart, and you'll see as the stock is moving up, the volume keeps halving. Okay, so you move up here, then look at the volume. It's up here. Then the next candle, less volume. It moves up even more, less volume. Okay, so this is, the less and less volume you show on the way up is when I like to start accumulating positions to the short side. Okay, so keep that in mind. I really like looking at the volume on the way up. As volume decreases on the way up, that's when you can have a little more confidence in your short position. Now, it seems that some of you guys are able to see the pre-market levels, which is very weird because I don't get to see the pre-market level, or at least I mean I don't see it here. Maybe you guys are talking about the level previously. Okay, so maybe that would be around here, um, where you guys could have went back, retraced the level, and understood that we rejected price here. Okay, so this could also be a good entry. Once you can see here, you would have caught it at 291, wrote it down to 276 probably. Okay, so my fan on my computer is getting loud. Alright, so I'm going to have to stop the clip here and come back when my computer settles down. Okay, so guys, that's a brief little, tip or, one way I look at, reversals and how I get into them sometimes, okay? Now, let's go over the daily trading range that I like to stress a lot. So when I say an average daily trading range post earnings of 15, okay, you'll notice from top to bottom is what that daily trading range is. So today the daily trading range was from 296 or 297 all the way down to the low of 275. So today we had a daily trading range of 21. Obviously that's more than the average, okay, but you have to understand the stock is trading at a higher price, okay, so that makes sense that the average today could be higher than the average typically, right, when the stock was trading at around, $100 or these lower prices, okay, so understand that when you go from 296, let's just say you had a perfect entry at 296, now the stock's down to 281. That's the average trading range for the stock, okay? So that's a good time to start getting out of some of your short positions, right? You can sell half, sell a quarter, whatever you're comfortable with, but that you can see that adds up very well. That average range of the stock would actually lead to a very great entry or exit on your contracts here, okay? So these are monthly options, and this stock can continue lower. At this point, if you haven't gotten into the trade, I wouldn't recommend it probably, although it does have more downside potential. Is it really worth it? Because this thing, as you can see here, trades within like 2 points all day. Of course, today's an exception because it's post earnings and we nailed it. All right, so let's get into the next trade, EW we had planned. Okay, so obviously you can go back and look at it, but we said we were ready for this trade, and we were going to short it. Okay, and look what happened here, drops about 3-4 points. Okay, so nice trade there too, and you can see here what would make you short it. All right, so as you see, we bounce up, make almost the double top. You can start seeing weakness here in volume. Okay, on the way up, volume decreases, although it's very little volume in the first place. It is still volume nonetheless, and it is decreasing on the way up. Okay, so once again, another nice entry by noticing the volume on the 1 minute chart. Okay, on top of that, you're approaching the topping level, so that's a good short position and time of entry there. Okay, next trade, my fan's getting loud again. I'll be right back. Alright, next trade we had planned for today on Monday was APH. Now, I highly recommended to actually avoid this trade, although we expected a move to the downside. Why would I do this? Is because it's monthly options once again, and I just don't like monthly options because they're just not as profitable as weekly, right? When you have the skills like we do to time these entries and then to actually target a reversal like we do today, all right? How many traders can target reversals like this, right? But not many, but when you have the skills to and you can time it, that's when weekly options become powerful, and that's when they become most profitable. Is that short amount of time can work to your detriment, but it can also work to your upside potential, as in, like, if you can time it, guys, then you can get in, you can get out with money. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. I think you guys get that. You guys are options traders at the end of the day. Okay, so when you can time things and you nail these things, weekly options will be much more profitable. Okay, so that was that last trade we had planned that we actually advised against. But you can see 3 for 3 on the day. Now, what I will say is, guys, I hope you realize, how heated things are getting today, and I hope instead of trading, EW or APH, you would have actually switched gears and went to either shorting the SPY or something else, guys. I mean, honestly, I told you guys, very bearish bias going into this week, and you see it. You could really short anything today almost, okay? With that being said, I will tell you guys something pretty important here, is that VIX is at the top end of its range, okay? Now, what does that mean? Does that mean you start selling or getting rid of your short positions? Let me give you my opinion. Okay, so at this point, you can see anytime we approach this 29-30 level, we reject it, at least in the last month or two. Okay, so that's been our range. Usually when you get to the top end of the range, you want to start booking your gains. But what I will say about today and the scenario and the conditions we have now in the market is you have to realize, guys, they've been, building up hopes and destroying them for stimulus for so long, and finally that's all going to come to an end here soon. Okay, so this has all been in the making for a very long time. Okay, and this is not just some little meltdown. This can be much more than just a little meltdown in the market, and for that reason, sure, you can sell some positions, but this is, to me, an exception where you actually can have a little confidence at the top end of the range and you don't necessarily have to start booking gains all over. So that's just my opinion. Okay, I could be wrong, but from what I see and from all the conditions we have currently, this is one of those times where we can really break through that range and things can get a lot more ugly than they've been in the last couple months. Okay, so my opinion, let me know what you think. But you'll see dollars holding up very strongly, with showing that that stimulus bill most likely is not going to get passed. Okay, so we're going based off what the charts say, and obviously that stimulus news will come out later. But for now, we're playing what's in front of us, and that's what being a shark is about: adapting to what the charts tell us, and adapting to what the market gives us. Not hoping for anything, but just doing what's in front of us. Okay, so guys, that's a quick recap of our day. I think I'll have a trade plan for you. Actually, I kind of already do. Okay, so let's get into it right now. All right, IBM. All right, now seasonality. This IBM stock has weakness in Q4 usually. Okay, besides 2017 and the last few years, 2017 it actually blew earnings, right? It blew in a good way. Okay, it destroyed earnings in a good way, and it actually went up from in 2017 Q4. Okay, this season, no, of Q4, October is typically a weak month for IBM, and you can already see here pre-market we are dropping. Now, we're not going to go and give you the historical data and analysis. I do have experience trading this one post earnings. Okay, so what I will tell you though, and there's some very important things you should know. And by the way, I could make a whole video on this, but I'm going to keep it short and simple for you guys, okay? I value your time and I want you to get in and out of the video with as much information as possible in the shortest amount of time. So if you like that, make sure to subscribe, by the way. Okay, so IBM is, they've announced earlier on in the year that they were going to try to revamp their company into like more of a cloud business, and basically that was supposed to be good news, okay? But now at this point, they report earnings. There's just no growth in sales and revenue and EPS really. So they beat earnings just barely, and the stock still drops. Now, what I will say is that this revamp of the business of IBM, right? That's a big spike of hope for them, right? So what I will tell you, based on trading this in previous years, IBM typically sells off after missing earnings, okay? But here today, you can see it beats earnings just by a little, and it still gaps down, which it also has a history of beating earnings and still gapping down. Okay, and a lot of times you'll see it'll beat earnings and it'll actually continue downwards. But what I will say is this stock actually has a good history that when it releases good guidance, that it actually goes up after. Okay, so IBM actually has this plan with cloud stocks, and these robot AI, whatever. Okay, and that's a big hope for them. Okay, so at this point, if you see IBM stall out tomorrow as it's dropping and you see it stall out, that would be a great opportunity to reverse into some calls. Okay, so you'll have to take my word for this. Obviously, we're not going to get into all that data here, but this is my experience with a stock. So with good guidance, right? And in this case, they didn't release guidance because they said they don't have any fundamental changes coming in the company necessarily for guidance, right? But what their guidance actually is this year is the revamp of their company into this AI cloud sector. Okay, now what I will say about this cloud sector, it's already very competitive. Where you got NVIDIA, Twilio, Microsoft, Amazon in the cloud sector, CRM, SPOK, all these very established cloud stocks. So it's got a lot of competition, and I don't think that would play out very well for IBM. But nonetheless, it is still hope, and you've seen what the market can do off of hope, right? The market's been up completely off of hope for stimulus, and it can be the same thing with IBM, with the hope for a revamp in the company. Like I was saying, if you see it start to bottom out, okay, then you know that might be a good opportunity to buy into some calls. If you hear about any news about their cloud plans and it seems like the market's actually buying into their plan, that's a good reversal opportunity there. Otherwise, you can expect this thing to most likely continue lower based off of what this thing has done in previous years. If you look at Q3 of this year, that's exactly, well, actually, no, it's not exactly what happened. Q3 of this year, I believe in July, gaps up and then sells off for the rest of the day. So your best entry in Q3 was actually at the open and on a tiny overshoot to the upside. Okay, But this thing definitely has a history of dropping, whether it's on a gap up or down. Okay, so um, just recognize the fact that it actually does have a little hope though, and when it does have hope for guidance and future plans, this thing actually can reverse to the upside. So be ready for that. Okay, so guys, that is a recap for the day. I like to keep videos short and sweet. I don't know how this one ended up being so long, but if you made it to the end of the video, let me know, because you are seriously a true champ, okay? And also, if we don't have people making it to the end of the video and you all aren't finding it useful, then I'm not going to do the longer, more in-depth videos. But with that being said, if you want the more in-depth and longer videos where I really break down more things, you got to let me know. That way I know it's actually beneficial to some of you, okay? And if it is beneficial and you do enjoy it, then I'll definitely do more in-depth videos like this, okay? So like I said, if you made it to the end of the video, you're a true champ. And let me know if you got any questions. And then, guys, if you enjoy the video, just drop a like and then make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on the next video that's going to help you. Okay, so guys, I'm Alex, the day trading champ, and I will see you guys on the next video.